Welcome. We're going to do a short practice focused on your hips that doesn't involve any stretching. Now, there's nothing wrong with stretching. I just find most people who come to me have already tried stretching. And there's lots of other ways that you can work to create happy, healthy, mobile hips. So for today's practice, I'm going to be using a yoga bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can grab a couple of pillows and then we can experiment from there to see what works for you. And I'll have a blanket or have an extra pillow if you prefer for supporting your head. We're going to start by lying down. Just take a moment to settle in. Have your knees bent and your feet on the floor with a little bit of space between your feet. And if you've been taught to step your feet really close to your sitting bones in other yoga classes, go ahead and walk them away a little bit so that you find a position where you still feel stable and connected through the bottoms of your feet. And you have a sense of spaciousness and ease through your knees, front and backs of your hips, low back area, all of that. We'll start with a half butterfly here. So for the half butterfly, the idea is that your left leg stays exactly where it is. Your right foot stays in the same position on the mat, so it's not going to slide in towards your left leg. You're going to move at your left hip and your right hip and your right leg and foot are going to follow along. So as you come out to the side with your right knee, you're going to tip onto the outer edge of your right foot, but not slide it in towards the left. Then you'll come back up. Then you're going to notice what happens. So for a lot of us, as the right knee comes out to the right, pelvis also tips over to the right. So if that's happening for you, I want you to find a range where your pelvis is not only still, but quiet. So you're not bracing to keep your pelvis still. Your pelvis is just quiet on the mat. The right leg is moving in the hip socket. Now you might also notice that your left leg kind of wants to wobble around. And that's a sign that your system doesn't feel completely confident in your movement. So you're going to make that movement nice and small and see if you can find a place where your left leg is also quiet and easy. Pelvis is quiet and easy. Stay tuned in for any gripping or bracing patterns that are happening anywhere in your body. This easy range of motion might be really, really tiny, and that's okay. Building a pattern of move with ease for your hip. Building experience in your body that movement in your hip can be easy and not require a whole lot of bracing. And we'll quiet the right leg. Take a moment to notice how you feel and to really feel everything settle. And then we'll keep the right leg still and move the left. Start out just moving the left leg and see what happens. So again, you may get some pelvic movement. You may get some movement through the right leg. And then see if you can find a range, and it might be teeny tiny, where you're just moving your left leg. Maybe you're rocking onto the outer edge of your left foot, but your left foot isn't sliding around side to side. And everything else can just be quiet and easy. The more you can be diligent about building that sense of ease and quiet and relaxation through the rest of your system, the better. So this is not about a stretch. It's not about a big range of motion. It's about building experience with that sense of ease. Beautiful. And then come into stillness. Notice how you feel. From here, we're going to come to lie on the right side. Your pillow or a blanket for your head is going to support your head. And your pillows or cushion or bolster is going to support your legs. Your bottom leg, so in this case, my right leg is going to be straight and my left leg is going to be bent and the cushion is going to support it. Now, the highest I would want this leg would be the knee level with the hip. For a lot of people, it'll be a little more comfortable and easier to start with this leg a little bit lower than the hip. We're going to start by finding a stack between your hips. So your top hip is right above your bottom hip. Your top shoulder is right above your bottom shoulder. And everything from that bottom leg to the head is nice and relaxed. Then we're going to keep all that relaxation. We're going to lift just the lower leg and the foot for this left leg and lower it back to the cushion. So you may find you have a lot of movement here, or it may be very small. And what I want you to tune into is where in your body do you have to tighten or grip in order to move the lower leg? And can you quiet all that other stuff and just move the lower leg? The other thing you can pay attention to is your pelvis moving around? Is your sideways shortening as you're moving your lower leg? And can you keep the bone of the hip still and just move the leg bones, right? And notice how this feels. And then you might lift and hold. So we're keeping the sideways the same. We're holding this lift, trying to keep the foot and lower leg relaxed so that the work is coming from the hip. And then you notice if anything else needs to brace as you fatigue here. When you lower that back down, notice if you relax, sometimes there's some sneaky hidden tension. And then we'll come to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and turn around so I can still face towards the camera for this one. You may just prefer to roll over, that's fine too. Remember to support your head and your bottom leg, so now your left leg is going to be straight. Your right leg is going to come up onto that cushion. We want this right leg to feel nice and supported. So if you're using pillows, you may need to add more pillows. They will not be as firm as this cushion. So if you want something firmer, you can stack blankets. I've seen people use like a cardboard box, a large cardboard box or file box or something like that. You could use blocks stacked underneath your knee and your foot. So you could get creative here with all kinds of different propping. We're going to relax as much as we can here. Then we're going to maintain that relaxed feeling as you lift and lower. And then you're going to lift and hold. Keep your foot and your lower leg relaxed. So we're doing the work up here in the hip as much as you can, right? And then as you hold in fatigue, notice what else tries to help. And then as you bring that leg down, notice where the sneaky tension maybe crept in that now can relax. So this is all part of mapping where some of your tension and gripping patterns might come from, as well as building some strength and control for movements of the hip. When you're complete, you can come again onto your back and just check in where you started out, noticing anything that maybe shifted or changed. If you find this helpful, you can explore these practices regularly and see what changes you notice as you do. I would love to hear what happens for you. And I hope you find this really helpful. Enjoy.